Context matters. Words that are taken out of context can be hard to understand. They can even be twisted to say something completely different. The same goes for art. Curating creates context for art. It mediates art so that we can better understand and appreciate it. In physical galleries, curators do this by selecting and hanging artworks together in specially designed environments and by providing extra information through texts, wall labels, and audio guides. But we don't only see art in these carefully curated contexts. The internet and social media have become important sources for the public to come in contact with art. Since the 1990s, museums have been digitizing their collections and putting these art digitizations, these images of physical artworks, on their website in huge online collection databases that you can easily access from your phone or computer. By definition, a database doesn't provide context. It's a big virtual storage space for information, like art digitizations. Some online collections let you group similar artworks together, like works by the same artist or from the same period. But that's not much to go on if you're trying to understand the meaning of a particular artwork. As one museum technologist says, putting images of artworks online without proper context is like dumping a box of Polaroids on the street and expecting people to rummage through it to make their own meaning. Even though everything is curated today, from cheese platters to closets, no one has figured out a good way to curate art digitizations online. The most common solutions are scroll through blog like exhibitions and digital galleries. But these virtual displays can take a lot of time to create. They don't give users a lot of freedom or control, and for the most part, they aren't particularly satisfying experiences, nothing like going to the museum. So, why is there no good digital curating for the millions of art digitizations available online? There are lots of explanations, including a lack of funds and digital skills across the museum sector. But in my experience, curators tend to be pretty crafty on a budget and very creative when it comes to inventing new displays. So I think there's a more fundamental problem. We tend to think of physical and digital space as being completely different, and they are. But deep down, contemporary curators are stuck with the same mediation dilemma or puzzle, whether they're curating art digitizations online or physical artworks in a gallery. This mediation paradox or dilemma comes from the fact that good art is believed to speak for itself, that art holds the keys to its own meaning. All you have to do is look at it long enough and it will reveal itself to you. Despite this, many viewers say that they struggle to grasp the meaning of art. Art doesn't speak to them. And so museums have developed lots of educational tools and programs to try to fill this gap in understanding. The result is that today there's too much mediation around art, and at the same time, an urgent need for more. In virtual space, this mediation paradox is complicated by the fact that an art digitization is not a physical artwork. It's just an image on a screen. It's only data. So there's this sense that you need extra mediation to compensate for what's missing. That's why you often find lots of extra text, animations, and games in virtual exhibitions. Even the two most innovative and convincing curatorial strategies that have been proposed for digitized artworks are at the two extremes of this mediation paradox. One privileges experience, the other information. The first strategy is set on creating a digital aura. Its goal is to reproduce the sense of awe, wonder, and reverence that comes from experiencing a work of art face to face. The second, on the contrary, sees art digitizations as these networked objects that are made up of lots of copies floating around the internet. This strategy's goal is to trace all of the different meanings of the artwork as it's reinterpreted in different online contexts. And yet, these two opposite curatorial solutions have one thing in common. Like traditional art history, they're both focused on the unique artwork, which is really the cornerstone of the mediation paradox. The first strategy focuses on the singular experience of the unique artwork, the second on its many interpretations. I believe that the way to solve the mediation paradox is to stop focusing on the unique artwork and redirect attention towards the many connections or relationships that exist between different artworks. And this is much easier to do with digital copies than physical artworks. Connections create context, and context matters. Like words, the meaning of an artwork changes depending on what comes before and after it. Great curating creates context by carefully selecting and putting very different artworks together to reveal rich and meaningful associative connections. This makes art interpretation a lot easier without excessive explanation, which is key because seeing and grasping these connections is actually a very engaging and satisfying experience, a bit like solving a puzzle, even if it doesn't provoke the same sense of wonder and awe as coming face to face with an artwork in physical space. By exploring and navigating different connections, users gain more freedom and control. They can reflect on and make decisions about which connections to follow, depending on whether they are meaningful to them or not. Far from having to rummage through a box of Polaroids, this digital curating strategy actually gives you tools, not just to grasp the meaning of artworks, but also to discover what contexts really matter to you.